We are going to go ahead and jump right into it. As you can see, the overnight inventory is starting to turn up here pretty recently. We just got a pretty big move. It did a little look below the settle. It seemed to kind of run out of supply and has since pretty much turned straight up. That line wasn't very straight, but pretty much turned straight up there. In the recent bid and kind of getting into this gap. If you remember, this gap is back from the 6th of October. We had that gap down and then a liquidation day followed. This is the first time we've been back up into that gap. And as of right now, we still have about 27 minutes. So the market, definitely has the opportunity to get back inside yesterday's range. But as of right now, the market looks like it might be opening up on a gap. Lecker, you can't hear me? Let's see here. What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Um, but yeah, so basically what's happening is the market, for the most part, my thesis is kind of that it was a lot of short covering yesterday. I think people, I think with that big gap down, market makers started to hedge. They started to sell the futures, and then the people that had puts, right? We talked about how there was about $15 million worth of puts that would go in the money if the market dropped below that 3,500 level, right? Well, it did get very close to getting down there. A lot of people just started cover puts, and then market makers naturally, because they were shorting the markets, had to cover their shares as well. And you got this kind of huge rally back and forth, or a huge rally up, and then, a little bit of back and forth once we got above the prior day's range. The market really failed. Oops, what I wanted to do. The market kind of failed to really establish itself back inside the previous day's range. You can see that E high is, or E low is, right at that previous day highs. I would call that a mechanical level, but just letting us know that there was no strong supply in the market yesterday, right? And so from there, basically just kept one time framing up for most of the day. We had a little, little kind of, I wouldn't even call it a correction. I would just call it like a taking a breather in J period. Market continued up in K, put the excess in an A, and then M period basically settled up on the high. So balance or value overlapping to higher. Morning Reyes, morning Lecker, morning Zoe, morning Peter. And we can see, for the most part, over the overnight session has pretty much been to continuation. Really balanced early on, kind of popped up above, didn't like what it found, came back into range, popped up above again, didn't like what it found, came back into range, but no real ability to move on the downside. And the key here today, I think, is going to be watching these single prints, right? Very wide set of single prints. You're looking at, I mean, basically from the 20 to the 72. So, I mean, about 30 handles of single prints is a lot. Trin, good morning. And then today we're back up into this gap here. So it'll be interesting to see which way they go. We're going to be opening up on a gap, maybe, and in another gap. So it'll be interesting to see which way it goes. But yeah, so this morning we can kind of expect, especially if the market stays up here to open, we'll expect a positive breath. We'll expect the tick to be positive, right? And we know gap rules. We want to go with any gap that doesn't fill right away, especially a smaller gap like this comparatively. I mean, still the gap, you figure the high yesterday was just under 3,700, or just about 3,700. You're looking at about a 20 handle gap here. So still pretty big gap, but if that tick doesn't get below that zero, right, you don't want to fade that gap, right? Just wait, be patient, and go with it. Um, if the market does fade the gap, um, yeah, I use anomalies. Yeah, anomalies are like this. Like this is an anomaly, right? I like to use low volume areas. Those are my favorite anomalies. But we have, very wide point or very wide TPOs here, point of controls down here, about around 15. It makes the odds pretty decent that, we might revisit it, and that would be kind of the look. Any correction that does fill the gap, I'll really be looking for the market to hold this level and to get any upside, and then it would need to, need to clear this previous day's high, and then honestly the target for me on the upside here, and we almost hit it already, was this 36. 37, 36 has been an area that I've kind of seen reactions from the market a lot, at least according to my notebook, right? I write down a lot of numbers and I see that number a lot. So that's going to be kind of guiding me, I guess. On the upside, that'll be kind of my target, right? Sometimes you can go past your target, right? My target yesterday on the upside was 35.72. Yesterday we opened up lower, and 35.72 was kind of where my target was at. I took profit, and then the market went like 1,000 more points. So left a bit on the table yesterday for sure, but ended up pretty decent, so can't complain, right? Taking a peek around the block here. We can see the dollar right back underneath of that 112 level, or close to that 112 level, excuse me. And kind of getting hammered down here early on in the session. You can see the dollar's dropped so far. I'm not sure if there was some news or something, but dollar just dropped about almost 1% here in the last like hour. The Australian dollar is trying to climb up here, going against the dollar. The euro trying to climb up here, really wants to be back above. Bitcoin had a nice rally yesterday, and kept it overnight. Is the J low an anomaly to me? Let me see. The J low. Uh, I mean, it's a weak reference. I don't know if I would say it's an anomaly. Like this whole area would be an anomaly. Morning, Dad. It's a weak reference because it's right at the F high. So I think that it's a mechanical buying. K low is right there too. I mean, there was a ton of mechanical references. There was just no supply in the market yesterday, so it was pretty easy after the initial short covering rally. Everyone was kind of scared because a lot of people probably got hurt right here, right? When this thing rallied up, a lot of people probably, had got their feelings hurt, and um, you know, so there was really, it was really tough for them to try to get short. You know what I mean? So, oil actually coming down here a little bit in the pre-market, still elevated 87, above 87. Gold came down a little bit, but has since rallied. We got bonds trying to make a move back to the upside. Interesting look yesterday with the market coming up, bonds coming down. That's a pretty um, decent look, but then the bonds rallied with the market, so not really any inverse correlation there. Apple looks like it's going to be opening up on a gap higher. AMD is looking towards the high of its range, not necessarily going to be opening up on a gap, but it's getting up there. What was that noise? Amazon going to be opening up on a gap higher, it looks like. Google as well. Back up to this long-term trend that we've been kind of tracking on Google. It's starting to get above it. Starting to get above some of these starting to get above some of these put walls. And we'll be watching to the to see this previous swing low, this 101 would be an interesting area if Google's able to reclaim this level. Meta, right, opening up on a gap higher, a lot of strength showing here in Meta. Microsoft opening up inside its upper days range. We're getting ready to open up inside its upper days range. Not really looking too strong, but looked pretty good yesterday. Netflix, after getting beat down the past couple of days, well, you can't really see on here, but got beat down the past couple of days, starting to climb up. Really, that target is to reclaim that 250 for Netflix. Nvidia, real big pump up here. Looks like it might be opening up on a gap higher. I think the real target for Nvidia to show some strength is this 145.48 level. That's the level that I'm kind of watching. I think there might be some opportunity to fade Nvidia from there if the market starts to show a little bit of weakness. Tesla, right? Tesla's looking okay. Not really going anything crazy. What's up with Musk? He's just getting investigated, I guess. That's just all I read. Their article was really non-specific, so the VIX starting to come down here a little bit too. That was the interesting look yesterday in the VIX, right? The market, I mean, really just started to move up hard yesterday, and the VIX really, uh, well, the market moved down yesterday really hard, but the VIX really was almost unaffected, right? Didn't really find any, didn't really like fall off the edge or really do anything, to be honest, that would
didn't
be
really.
indicative of more or less like the risk off type of look, right? um Typically if the market's falling, you'll see the VIX rising, and it really didn't do anything. So the VIX, the market opened down about 2% or got down to about 2%, and then at one point yesterday was up about 3%. I think it finished up just over 2.5%, which was a historic move. It's only happened 5 times in history. So if you were trading yesterday or just watching the market, you got to witness history, which is pretty cool if you think about it. Um, TNX smacked that above that 40 level, then dropped all day yesterday. So we're back below that 40 level. This is a good look for the market. I mean, I don't know if I would say good, but it's definitely better look than it was looking above 40. 40 is not really the greatest look for that. Um, that is pretty much it. Right, we are kind of getting ready to see if we're gonna open up on this gap higher, and just be ready. We still got about 15 minutes, powered through the early on session. Let me go ahead and update some of these uh, options levels real quick. Yeah, other news that came out, really nothing nothing too crazy. Um, there was some news about uh someone in England getting fired. This Liz Truss speech is due in 15 minutes, and that she's about to fire whoever it is. Um, Looking at the news, see if there's anything here. Jamie Dimon, European CLOs, spreads gapped out. I told my people to buy them. The banking system is extraordinarily strong. Jim Cramer says Wells was out of control. Good. Trust owns it. Best in show. Charlie is back. Here's the earnings for next week. Right, we start off. They're not really any big earnings. Well, that's for this week. Today's the 14th. You got Morgan Stanley, Citibank, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, I think, as well. About 1%. Yeah, so nothing really that exciting. The Treasury Minister, yeah, that's who it was. Someone over there. Any questions before we get started or anything like that? Let me know. Now's the time. We got a little bit of time here. Remember, the market's going to be opening up on a gap. If you're not familiar with gap rules, go ahead and refresh yourself on that.
Brad, would you mind explaining the tick?
Yeah, no problem. So the tick here is the upticks versus downticks in the NYSE, the NYSE, right? So the New York Stock Exchange. You can change your tick to, if you want to see it for just the S&P 500. It's a little bit less descriptive for me, or a little bit less. It looks just more kind of like nothing. So I like to see this. But basically, what we're seeing is the upticks versus downticks. So like yesterday, we opened up lower, so the tick opened up fairly low, close to that 2000 level here. 1845 was the actual low. But so that just tells us that, out of the, I can't remember how many, it's like 2000 something stocks in the NYSE, um, adding up the ones that are making upticks versus the ones that are making downticks, we got down to a negative 1845. And then eventually they started to climb up, right? So once we get above zero, that means there's more stocks in the NYSE climbing up versus climbing down. And so basically what this is telling us is showing us a little bit of strength in the buyers versus the sellers, right? And this is like the probably the fastest indication of what's going on in the market, because it's literally just plus and minus versus ticks that are stocks that are upticking versus stocks that are downticking. And so something that you look for, especially on up days like yesterday, are when we get these kind of, moves below 1000, right? And this is kind of an oversold look. And you can look for this on balanced days as well. But anytime the tick is making a low below 1000 or a high above 1000, and the market's not making a high, right? So if it's making a high above 1000, the market should be making a new high. That's just showing a lot of strength in buying. And if it's not making a new high, that's kind of interesting. Morning, Roach. It's an interesting look, because why is it not making a new high, right? And the same thing with the low. We got these negative 1000 ticks yesterday, and for some reason the market wasn't making any new lows, really, just, kind of pulling back and giving us opportunities really to buy, right? There's kind of four opportunities yesterday to get in on some pullbacks. And that's kind of what this is saying. And it's not one of those indicators, or not, there's no indicators like that, but if it gets below 1000, we want to buy it. If it gets above 1000, we want to sell it. It's really data dependent, but it shows us the strength of the move, right? So like if the market is, balancing here, let's say these are our 30-minute bars, and then all of a sudden we start hitting this 1000 tick, but the market's, pretty far off of its high. Let's say this is the high of the day. It's pretty far off of its high. Well, that's telling you that these buyers are, they're buying, they're trying their hardest, but they're not able to get this continuation. So there must be some selling pressure in the market, probably. Not necessarily a for sure thing, but oftentimes you see that and then you see a pushback. That's not to say that it can't just come down and then start rallying back up. It's just to say that, they're getting a little bit tired. They're giving it all they've got and really not getting anything for it. So typically they back off. You don't really see the tick just stay pinned over and over and over and over and over, because people don't just buy, 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 right? They buy, they take profit, then they buy again, they take profit, they buy again, they take profit, or inverse, right? They sell, they take profit, they sell, they take profit. It goes back and forth. So, um,
Yeah, that's much clearer than the articles I've been reading online. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. We've got about 7 minutes here. Still, still the market's looking like it's going to open up on a gap higher here. Anything's possible in 7 minutes, right? This thing moved up here in about 2 minutes to get up above yesterday's high, so. And people still might be a little bit scared that this rally is going to continue here. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if the rally does continue, to be honest, with um, with earnings coming up in next week. We've got some bigger earnings next week, so I would not be surprised. I think next week on the 17th, Monday, I think that's Tesla. Tesla's earnings on the 19th. Netflix is on the 18th. Microsoft 25th. Meta's the 26th. Google's 25th. Amazon 27th. AMD. AMD's not till November 1st. And then 20. Looks like we came right up to that supply box at the end of yesterday. Yeah, we sure did. Yeah. Yeah, I just actually deleted it once the market moved up above it before this most recent move up. But yeah, it did. It really did. If you'd have been patient enough to just wait till then to fade, that would have been I mean, it didn't really go down too. I mean, well, actually, if you think about it, just because yesterday's range it was just so big, it doesn't seem like a lot. But if you really look at this, right, because it cracked into it during K and L, I mean, it came all the way down, 20 points off the high right there. So 28 points, so 25 points. Um, so if you're patient enough to wait all the way till that end of the day trade, you would have been good to go. Of course, I wasn't looking for any shorts yesterday. I think it was a tough decision. Yeah, yeah, it was.
Hey, doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, you could flip it. Yeah, it probably act as support. That's not a bad idea. And that's kind of a level that I'm watching. It's right here on this previous day's high, and you kind of see where there's just weak volume overnight. That previous day's high is kind of lining up there at that 3,700. Let's go ahead and get this day started. All right, now we're ready. Just about 1 minute left until the market opens up here. Jason, good morning.
Did you play Reveille?
Yeah, I just played it. Did you guys not hear it?
I missed it. I might have been shuffling some stuff around.
Wait, didn't play on the Zoom? Little auction down there. We opened up on the gap, right? So we have this gap here below still. A little bit of selling off of this 08 here. Let's see if they hold it below this 08. They're selling right up, right above the open there. Sellers move down below the open. You saw that right there. Thomas, good morning. Nasdaq's trying to catch a bid here. Look at all that. There it goes. A little stop run there early on here. You had like 3,000 volume just kind of cash out right there. That was interesting look. And the market starts to auction lower here. That was an interesting look right there. Market looks to fill the gap. Short started to cover down there. Key level is going to be this 37.10 here. That's kind of where the impulse came from, that 37.10 back above it here. A lot of volume coming in right here. Comes back below. Back and forth across the open. The market really just, kind of doesn't know what it wants to do. And this is kind of my thesis in the trade view here this morning was like, I think a lot of people are cash heavy. A lot of people are kind of flat in the market and really they're just going to try to ride the wave or ride the momentum of what the market's doing um, you know, at the moment. I don't think that a lot of people are going to be kind of uh uh, how do you explain it? Like I don't think a lot of people are really um they're not really decided on what they think the market's going to do. They're just kind of going to try to play whatever the market gives them today. That 37.10 level seems to be the level here so far. I'm going to try to close the gap one more time. There they go. They closed it to the tick. So you've got mechanical buying right there on the low. This is where shorts covered last time. Let's see if they move down and try to fill this in and keep moving the market lower into yesterday's range. Go back to where shorts covered. This 3701 is going to be a key level. This is where shorts came in. This is where they covered the first time. They came back in at that level, tried to push it lower. You got buying inside of yesterday's range. Look to see if the market gets above the 10 here. If the market can't get above the 10, that would tell us that some of these sellers are moving down here and selling below the open. If it does get above the 10, kind of expect some shorts to cover and look for that gap to get tested above. You can see the breath here. Not really anything too crazy. That tick hasn't got below the 0 level, so it's telling me that these sellers are not as strong as they are trying to be, but they could just be being patient and letting the buyers um letting the buyers kind of exhaust themselves for this buy side. I like a long from here though. 3700 level. We keep holding it. There we go. See some volume step up here. We'll take a little bit off right here below the open, right? We want to sell into some strength. We kind of expect them to sell the open. We'll leave a couple runners on, see if we can climb above that 10 and get into that gap. If not, we get back below this 3702. We'll just take it and run.
Hey, if I get into a trade with two lots, can I activate one to be sold by doing I don't know what that thing's called, or you go in and sell one of you just put in the lot on the chart to sell it.
Yeah, like a limit order.
It'll split it. Yeah, limit order. It'll split it up for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little peak above the 10. We'll take one more off here. I got one lot left on. See if we can catch anything here. I'm gonna put my stop at 3708 flat, and then if it gets below that, I'll just get out. Got some sellers trapped up at the 3713. That's why I'm getting a little bit nervous. Yeah, I'm out. That tagged me right there. That's all right. Not a bad way to start the day. We're from 36, 96, 75 right there. A nice little tick. Added up the 3700. Took them off at 36 quarter, 37.75, 37.12, and 37.08. Story of my life. Oh well, what can you do, right? Would have not had the worst setup before the open. Got back to the gym 30 minutes before. Had everything ready. The PC was put to sleep. Turn it on. One screen was not working. Oh, that's annoying as hell. Turn on Rhythmic. Connection did not load the charts properly. Did you update? Windows had an update recently that was kind of fucking everything up. Because I remember I wasn't even able to print the PDF. So when I was doing the trade view some mornings, like I had to like open it with PDF and then save it instead of just printing it to PDF. Nice rally here. That's what I get for being a little chicken shit bitch. Damn. You did not update? Yeah, you need to update. You need to update, my man. That's what's fucking it up. So there's that VPOC from the 28th. We're going to go ahead and erase it. We just hit it. I'm not really seeing any reaction off of it. I swear to God, if that thing doesn't stop dinging, I don't know what the fuck that is. I think it's my wife's iPad. Be fucking about to be an outside pad. Ooh, little reaction there. Pretty volatile this morning here. Yeah, just try the update. That's what it did. That's what did it for me. I had to update everything. Actually, okay. We saw some buyers step up around this 37.13, 37.10 level before. That's kind of where this impulse came from. Now we're right back at it. So let's kind of see this 37.10 been a pretty key area. That's where most of the volume has come in so far. And so far, this is kind of sticking with our thesis, right? It's kind of like you got that momentum that pushed us back down to close that gap, and then we popped up above the 10, and then everyone just flip-flopped and rode the momentum up until it kind of died out. Interesting look here is that most of that volume on the way down actually came in a lot heavier than on that move up there, right? A lot of this volume's a lot heavier on the downside. So look at the volume trying to fill in here. We got the VWAPs sitting right here at 3,700. This is where we caught a nice move from last time, but seeing a pretty much, rinse and repeat, right? Rallied up and then just took back the entire move right there. This 3,700 has been a key level. These sellers really, they tried to move down there the first time and weren't able to get any extension here. So let's just watch this level. If it pops above that 3702 level again, you'll look for it to trade back to the open. It looks like they're holding it so far here. Trying to get back inside yesterday's range. What's up, Kumar? Go back to that 3,700. Sellers keep moving down. Trying to fill this thing in. Got a big bid at the 95. That's where it looks like it wants to try to get to. There it is. The weak spot on the profile is 96. Let's see if these sellers hold below 96 or they backfill that 96. Little bit trades there, not much. So the market kind of searching to see if it can get accepted inside yesterday's value here. Starting to see a nice little trend form to the downside. Pretty steep trend, honestly, but Nasdaq's really getting punished here. It looks like a lot more than the ES. Yeah, Nasdaq's coming down pretty hard here. Dow's coming down pretty decently. Google, Amazon, Netflix, Apple's red. Take a look at Apple. Apple's kind of getting smashed here. That 140 level on Apple was kind of a big level yesterday. Weighted AD starting to flip over here, pretty red here. Volume's getting pretty thin down here. Starting to see shorts cover a little bit there. They were watching this weak spot, 91 half and yeah, 91, basically 91 to 91 half is kind of a weak spot up here. So let's see if the market does pop up. Watch for them to reoffer this level. If they don't reoffer that level, look for them to try to push it up to the prior day's high. If the selling continues, they're going to be targeting these single prints. Remember, the volatility is still high. Ranges, I mean, you can kind of see how wide some of these ranges are here. Buyers trying to step up here over this 91, but it looks like just getting reoffered. Ticks coming down here. Weighted AD's coming down. You see all of our sectors have flipped to red. Right back to that overnight point of control, which is pretty mechanical, I think. And they failed to get above that 91 level there on that little bounce. So see if volume keeps coming in. Still getting the hammering down. Nasdaq's down 0.17 here as the ES starts to kind of balance here on the low. Watch this 91 level. Almost there. It'll be the kind of key level. You got another weak spot right here, 93 here, and then the 96. But that 91 level is the area that they'll look to backfill to try to hold below this weak spot. They give up this 91, that's probably where the market will target back to the prior day high. It looks like so far they're still moving down. We've got our first box. So you can see that 91 level, they're really trying to hold it below this 91. So there they go. They give it up. A little bit of shorts cover there. There's the prior day high. So as soon as they gave up that 91, right, we figured that's what they were going to target. Let's see if they do a little bit of backing and filling or the momentum starts to turn in the other direction. The breadth is still positive, right? But not really any indication of trending or anything like that. And you can see them just selling the market right off of the VWAP here at 97. And the prior day high seems a little bit mechanical, that selling there. More of a stop run than anything to the upside. Some more selling coming in here. Going. So we've got 4 key levels now. We've got the 91, the 3700, and the 3710 really are kind of the key levels so far that we've seen a lot of interaction at today. I'm going to turn this heat on real quick. 1 second. Yes, it's trading like the Nasdaq, super thin. Yeah, I mean it's just really, really volatile. A lows mechanical here. Watch the 91 again on this auction up. Morning, Kevin. So Nasdaq breadth just flipped red, right? Nasdaq's getting punished a little bit harder than most here. Nasdaq's down 0.33, Dow's still up 0.44, Russell's up 0.03. It's basically flat, and ES is up 0.1. We're getting a lot of rotation inside yesterday's value here as well. So if you don't start to see a bid soon, decent odds that the market's going to come down to this 36.72, which was the point of control from yesterday. We got the VPOC here really aligned with the Globex point of control, but our value here is 6 TPOs down here at the 72. A little bit of tapering coming in here, and you're kind of seeing a pretty wide half pipe up here, targeting that 96 as the weak spot on the upside. Looks like shorts might be getting too short here. Um, and they keep like just short covering here. Dollar bounced back up. Yeah, it's up at 113. The TNX is up at 39.4, so it's almost back up at 40 as well. $897, what's up, man? Been a while. How you doing? How's that vet life treating you? Little battle here at the 92 half. Negative correlation between the DXY and the SPX BTC is very strong right now. Nice, good stuff. 5K bonus, moving to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's pretty nice. James and I've been to Cincinnati one time. And it was pretty fun. We went there for they had like a food festival there. Yeah, paying off debt. That's a good idea. Still not a lot of conviction here. I mean, that A low is mechanical, but we're not getting a lot of conviction, right? We're just kind of sitting in the same range here from like 95 to 81. Pretty, I mean, a wide range given, but um, kind of
So quick question. So the fact that it's actually B is probably going to open up below the value area for A. Is that typically, well, I guess given the rotation we've had, I guess it might not mean as much, but
So there's a something called the 80% rule. It's not really something that I follow, but so if B period opens up inside the previous day's value, and closes inside the previous day's value, there's good odds that the market will travel to the opposite end of value, which would be all the way down here. Value area is
oh
kind of
wow.
skewed from yesterday, but that's Yeah, that would be a tough move, I think, to eat through all those singles today. I mean, it's definitely not impossible, right? And they're awaiting some news coming from Europe, and I think that's kind of where people are just, really kind of waiting. Um,
What time is the news from Europe coming?
it was I think
After market close?
she's on right now. I just don't know what station she's on, but yeah, I think she's on right now. Would you say that's possible? That's possible because of a lot of traders being mostly flat, like what you're theorizing before the opening. Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of in and out today, right? They haven't really picked the direction of the market today. But I think if the market does start to trend or starts to go a direction, I think a lot of traders are just going to go with it. So there goes that low. Pretty good break there. Starting to get some tempo and some steam here.
Wow, it totally sucked that value low down
There
pretty
it
far.
goes. He's talking about reversing more tax cutting plans and named a few new finance ministers. Really thin volume on that move down, so just be careful here. But we did get below that Globex low. The breath has picked up a little bit. You're seeing the weighted AD really start to pick up here. And that was just a straight liquidation, right? A lot of these longs just could not hold anymore, and then boom, and then everyone just piled in. That's what we're talking about, right? The momentum here. No beaches, of course, but affordable wise, yeah. Yeah, Cincinnati's nice. I enjoyed it there. Thought it was pretty. I mean, I was only there for like a couple days, but it seemed like a pretty nice area. Yeah, the S&P is just fucking getting wild here.
I was thinking, damn, hopefully it'll be a little calmer to trade today. I guess that was.
Well, if you remember, like, you remember what day was this? Let me look back real quick. There was another day after a PCE report where, um, where the market kind of did this back in, I think it was back in June, May. Yeah, it was May. So like the market did one of these where we had that kind of that big day, and the market kind of rallied up a little bit and then just completely dumped the next day. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out today. But yeah, I mean, we've got to expect the volatility for sure. I don't know about the volume. Let me look at the volume.
20% down from yesterday for a period,
Okay.
or 21, I guess it was.
Yeah, 21%. Yeah, so a little bit less volume, and I mean we could just see how thin the market is here. Oh yeah, no problem, Jamie. Glad that helped. Richest man in Babylon, the compound effect, and journaling the past few months to get up early, working out, lost 15 pounds, mind's becoming clear. Hell yeah, good stuff, bro. That's awesome. So it came right to that point of control here, or right to this lower volume area, excuse me, not the point of control. Right to this lower volume area and kind of got a little bit of bounce. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I mean, you can see there's like a data gap here. It's on my footprint too. My 30-minute footprint has like, there's no trading from, if it's on DOM, yeah, on the DOM, it's like 81.75 to 80.75. There's just no trading. 9 lots traded on the 81.75. A few shakes and bangs did the trick. It looks like there was a big liquidation here. A lot of long trades just liquidated below the settle there. That's pretty much all you missed. Looks like the market wants to continue its move lower here. Look at the range on the 1 minute, 10 point range per minute is a pretty big range. One of the biggest ranges we've seen, even bigger than yesterday, honestly. I don't even think we saw the 1 minute ATR get over 10 there. And I think it's just basing it off of the last bar, maybe. Let's see what this is.
I think it's an average of like the last, gotta be more than one though.
Okay. 7. It's the last 7. So let's just do the last like 30. That'll give us a better. So a 7 over the last 30 minutes. So now's really decision time here for these traders. It's, do they want to move down and continue selling, or do they just take their profits because they got such a big move here? It's a tough decision here, I think. And still no conviction, right? The breadth is negative, but not that negative. And the tick, we didn't even see the tick hit a negative 1,000. So the selling wasn't extremely strong so far. And I mean, you can see most of the ticks still finished above 0. I'm not really convinced of anything yet. I do think that the market wants to go down and test some of those single prints from yesterday still, which is kind of my plan. But right now, I'm just sitting out. The market's being a little bit too wild and indecisive for me. And I've got no problem just kind of standing by and waiting for the market to make up its mind before I decide what to do.
The fact that it moved down so quickly, do you think that would influence them wanting to get back out?
I think that I think that was a lot of short covering there. I, mostly just like or not short covering, a liquidation. And so people started to panic, and then momentum traders started to pile in. I think there's a lot of cash on the sidelines, and people are just like, they're smashing in, smashing out, and that's what's causing, all this volatility.
Got it.
It would be helpful to get the news on. Let me look around on Twitter real quick and see if we can find anything important. It could head down 36.40, maybe buyers step in a little there, covering. Yeah, I think the 36.55 seemed like where everyone started to cover shorts. So let's see how it acts there. 36.55 be the first kind of look there. But yeah, there's that big bid at 56.25 as well. There's the 55. Sellers come back in. Let's see if they can hold it here. Almost there, Roach. There it goes. Get down there. Okay, so not able to quite get down there yet. That 55 level is where they came back in, so let's watch that. They initially covered at the 55. This time they shorted the 55, and so we'll just watch to see if they get back above that 55. But this thing's coming down. The tempo. Notice the tempo, and now we're starting to see. Now we're starting to see maybe a trend, right? Tick is trending down. We finally got that below the 1,000, so sellers really started to try to pour in there. Oops. And the weighted AD is starting to pick up. All of our sectors have flipped to red. Well, this is an interesting look here. Trying to pick up some steam. They heard Roach say he wants the 40, and they're like, oh, you want the 40? We'll give you the 40. Here we go. Yeah, this is a lot. That's a good point, Double R. It's a very wide initial balance, a lot wider than we're used to. I think we want to go down to these single prints. So just let's see. At this point, it's just like, why not? We're almost there now, so we might as well just go all the way down there. Got that 40 to the tick there, Roach. Hopefully you covered in some profit, right? Sell into your initial plan. Weekly opens 36.38. Norma, thank you for the sub. Glad to have you. Well, next area of reference really that I see is like 3,600, honestly. Like 30, this half back, this 35.95 area, 3,600 is really like the area that I see that buyers would be willing to call it a fair price and responsibly buy. And that's still inside yesterday's value here. So, but like we've been saying, that the market is just getting it's getting wild here. Kind of see like these areas here. Notice the breath on that nicey is starting to pick up. It's almost 3-1 now. Momentum sellers trying to come in. Watch the tick to see if the tick makes a new low in in agreement with the market. 4 to 111. We got some sellers getting stuck here on the 42, it looks like. Watch this 42 level. They need to get back below there. They're having a little bit of trouble here. The bot didn't play today. And my algo didn't play today. Hasn't played. Didn't play
Yeah,
yesterday.
the only counts it got were call counts, but it didn't like the numbers.
Yeah, my bot actually would have taken a trade yesterday afternoon, a long trade yesterday afternoon, late in the day, because it finally met the parameters. Then it would have made like 7 or 8 points, I think. I didn't trade it. I didn't even have it on yesterday, to be honest. On those gap days, I'm just not gonna let it. I don't trust it enough yet. I don't think I'll ever play it on the gap days. Gap days just skew data too much, I think. So starting to find a little bit of balance down here. You're seeing the market try to, two-way trade here a little bit. Yeah. I mean, capital preservation is the number one thing in my mind at all times, right? It's a number one thing that I think about. Of course, I'd love to hit it big every single day, but it just doesn't make sense to risk it if I'm not getting what I want, or if it's gonna cause me financial hardship, or anxiety. I think that's kind of a lot of issues with a lot of newer traders is at first they're focused on the gain before the risk. And like I said, I think that everybody could learn how to trade for a living. It's just a matter of training your brain to make $1 every day before trying to make $100 every day, right? You got to learn to take one good trade before you can learn to make two good trades. And it's a tough situation because it's not one of those things like where you go to work and you get paid per the hour, and no matter how much good work you put in or bad work you put in, you still get paid. Sometimes you come to work and you put in a ton of hard work and nothing comes from it, and that's just how it is. You know what I mean? Like I can't fuck if I had if I had a fucking nickel for every time I struggled, it'd be fucking dump truck full. At the end of the day, you always end up coming back to the slow and steady. Exactly. Because that's really, it just really is the way. It's like a fucking Mandalorian. This is the way.
Honestly, it's like exercising, working out.
Yeah, you're right.
You can go in there one day and kick ass, but that doesn't mean that next day you're going to be buff.
Well, and a lot of times too, when people are like, I'm gonna work out, they like download a workout program and they're like, I'm gonna fucking get in there, and then they work out, and then they're too fucking sore to work out the next day. So the next day their workout is shit, right? Because they're too sore to do anything else. And then after that they're like, I'm still too sore. I'm not gonna waste my time, so I'm not gonna do it. And then then eventually it just dissipates. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're just starting out, focus on taking one good trade a day, and after you make that one good trade, switch to the fucking sim. And if you kill it on the sim, great, right? But focus on making that one good trade first before you do anything else. Like my bot, right? My bot, I have it programmed where it can only make one trade a day, and sometimes that trade that it takes, like looking back in history, because I've only been running it for about a week now, sometimes that trade that it takes is a 1-point trade. Sometimes it gets in at 36, 35 and gets out at 37, and that's it. And I mean the range is huge. Like the market keeps going, or the market goes whatever it does, and so it's leaving it on the table, but it's only taking that one trade a day. And that's not a winner every single day, but more often than not, it is.
I forget where I learned it, but oftentimes people overestimate what they can do in the short term, and they drastically underestimate how doing small good decisions over time compounded, how far they'll go.
Like that thing, would you rather have $1 million or would you rather have 1 penny doubled every day for 30 days?
Yeah.
It's over. If you double a penny or every day for 30 days, it's over $1 billion.
Yeah, that's the thing. But like on day 27, you're still sitting there at like $1,000 or something.
Yeah,
you're like,
it's
gosh, why didn't I take the $1 million?
Yeah.
And then, but you have to be willing to put in the 27 days or the 2.7 years or whatever, to be willing to get that exponential increase that comes at the end, because the end doesn't come without the beginning.
Well, there's a phrase that the most people fail as they are actually coming out of the pit of despair, or the whatever you call that, the bottom part of the curve. As they're
Capitulation.
coming out of that. What was that?
Capitulation.
It's $10 billion. Anyway, it's a
10,
crap ton of money.
10 million. 10 million.
All right, $10 million. Anyway, most people give up at that bottom part when they're actually coming out. So they're actually getting to the point where they're willing, or where they're able to come out of that and start doing better. And most people say, it's not worth it, and then stop.
Yeah.
So don't be that person. Just be one of the others.
I agree.
Everybody wants the handout. They want the quick win, so that they can be flashy or whatever, so that they can say, look what I did. It really, it's amazing having because I deal with people every single day. Some of these people put the cart before the horse. They come in here with a car they can't afford. It needs things to be done, and they can't do them. So they're going to have a piece of shit rolling around on the road without brakes, squeaking like a motherfucker on bald tires with a broken windshield and one headlight that doesn't work, because they want to drive a fancy car. That's what it is.
The Miami Heat have a thing and they have it in their locker room. Get 1% better every day. And and that's kind of what we try to do in our household. Me and my son and my wife talk about that. 1% better. Doesn't have to be huge gains. Just keep them consistent. You're gonna get there.
That's
The moral of Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits is that.
Yeah, Atomic Habits says that too. But I know the Heat have it in their locker room.
It's true. I mean, if you think about it, if you change 1% every day, just like Stacy said, after 30 days, you're 10 times better than you would have been on day one.
Yeah, in the book, I think it says if you get 1% better every day for 1 year, at the end of the year, you're 37 times better than you were at the beginning. But if you get worse 1% every day for a year, you go all the way down to 0. So it's important to have good behaviors, good habits, keep you on the right track.
That's
Yeah.
that thing that I keep. Oh, go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, an important thing about this is like, you can't remember to just have these good habits in your trading, or try to force yourself to have good habits when you're trading. It needs to be in all the aspects of your life to make you consistent, because sometimes you get in a trade and it's a losing trade, and if these are not habits that you have throughout your life, you're going to revert back to the mean, just like the fucking market does. And if your mean is undisciplined or unwilling to cut shitty trades, you're going to end up taking these huge losses. And so that 1% better that you've been getting every single day can get wrecked, because you're only focusing on one aspect of your life. That's why start your day every day with a little bit of pain, right? Turn that fucking shower to cold, step under there, and be like, and just hate it, right? Just fucking hate it. And sometimes in the morning, I wake up and I'm like, not even looking forward to getting out of bed, because I know I'm about to take a cold shower, and I'm just gonna be like, fuck, this is gonna be miserable. Especially here, it's freezing fucking cold. So now I get out of the shower, it's still freezing cold, and it's like, but you've got to put these, in every aspect of your life there.
So that thing, and I know I've said it before, but just for all those that haven't heard it. So I actually decided to figure out what kind of a pattern you would need to be able to make. So if you started with $25,000, how long it would take you using a very modest approach to be able to double that, to have 100% return within 1 year. And if you invest 15% of that, which is about $37.50 on the first day, that your percentage of return on that $37.50 is 2.1%. Not 15, not 10, 2.1%. And if you do that consistently, every day you invest 15% and you get a return of 2.1% on that, at the end of 1 year on trading days, this is just trading days, you would have 100%. So you would have 50,000, you would have 100% return. And I don't know a single trader that wouldn't give their left freaking eyeball to have 100% return after a year. Any trader. But yet, for some reason, we all go after that. I want 100% return in one day, or a week, or whatever. And that's the problem. Is that if you just focus on the long term, it makes it easy. It makes it. I mean, who could get a 2.1% return? I mean, I can do that sleeping, but it's just hard to keep going.
That's what's great about this community is like we're all so on the same page and focused on, getting that 1% together, right? And I mean not necessarily together, it's individual. So like I don't want to take away from any of the things that you guys are doing individually. Like, I've been seeing the post Peter's been posting, he's positive every day this week. PJ has been doing really well this week. My dad, but these are just the people that I've seen their PNLs been doing really, really well this week. And it's not necessarily like they're making $1 million, but they're making consistency, and really consistency is the key. And it's like I said, like, one good trade or 1% better, like you guys are saying, or just like my uncle was saying, that to get that 100% return, the percentage is just such a low number that you don't even think about it. But when you think about the gain, you think about like, oh well, I just have to do this, like if the doctor comes to you and tells you, hey, you've got fucking diabetes because you're overweight, and this is what you need to do to cure that diabetes, right? Well, you're like, well, and what happens is a lot of people are like, well, fuck, I need to stop eating sugar, I need to stop eating carbs, and they just boom, cut them all out that day. A lot of times that doesn't work, right? Your body, if it's, I mean, even though it's not going to be as bad as like a withdrawal from alcohol or a withdrawal from drugs, right? Because your body has these things, it is going to have issues like that. So cutting everything out that one day is just not going to happen. And so we've got to be realistic with ourselves on the back end. And that's what's so frustrating about the media, really, is because they're so focused on showing you what other people have. And so everyone's like, I want that. I need that. And they're like, what do I got to do? I need to get that right now. And it's like, it's just unrealistic, and I wish that there was more people out there that would just be realistic, right? And that's one thing, like if I ever became the president, that I would make it so if the media posts an article or does a news report, that they'd have to place a disclaimer, right? Why is it that people trading online have to post a disclaimer? Like I have to have this stupid fucking disclaimer on top of my stream that says not investment advice, right? For what? It's the dumbest fucking thing in the whole world. But you're allowed to just spew bullshit on TV or any of the other YouTube channels. They say they don't have to have a thing that says this is purely my opinion and no fact involved with it, right? Please make your own decisions and use your own brain. But they don't, and so people are just like, driven, like, oh, you see this person with a six-pack and you're like, oh, I'll just do this workout and get a six-pack. You know how fucking hard it is to get a six-pack, right? Six-pack is not just working out. It's dieting, it's doing the right exercises. I mean, it's just so much stuff. It's such a pain in the ass to get a six-pack, and then just to keep a six-pack is even harder, right? It's like, it's just an unrealistic thing, but that's what they post. Oh, get a six-pack, wear these shoes and you'll have toned calves. Like, the fuck? And so, that's what I want all of you guys to just, think about that, especially if you're struggling out there and you're listening to this. Like, understand that, one, you're definitely not alone, and two, it's not today, it's not tomorrow, it's not the next day, it's not the day after that. Like TJ was saying, with 27 days, you got to wait that 27 days till that compound interest really starts to kick in. And what do they say? 6 weeks till it takes 6 weeks to form a habit or something like that. Some specific amount of days that they said to either break a habit or form a habit.
I think it's also 27 days for a habit.
Is it 27 days? 21 days? Something like that.
I think it's 3 weeks. Yeah, 21 days.
But it's a lot easier. So when you've had these habits before, let's say your habit is to eat junk food right before bed, and there's no scientific research that that's bad for you. And I'll tell you fucking facts of life is that honestly, it doesn't, none of that shit matters. Um, it doesn't matter. And this is my facts, okay? So, and I'm not a doctor, but it doesn't matter what the fuck you eat, right? It's all about calories in, calories out.
There
It
was a
does.
guy who lost weight on a Twinkie diet. He only ate Twinkies.
When I had a six pack, I was eating a fucking Burger King Whopper every single day for lunch. Every single day. I was training my ass off because I was doing MMA at the time, but every single day I had a Burger King Whopper, fries, and a large soda. Every single day. So that all that shit is just bullshit for the most part. I mean, it can help, right? If you eat cleaner, right? If you're doing like a physique competition, you want to get some really low body fat. Um, but all of that is just bullshit. It's all about the consistency and the calories in versus calories out. If you want to eat a fucking Big Mac every single day, well, guess what? You're just gonna have to work out really hard every single fucking day. That's it, right? The one of the reasons I work out is because I like to eat whatever the fuck I want. Right? I don't like to just go over to someone's house and they're like, "Oh, we got cake." I'm like, "Oh, I can't have cake. Fucking trying to lose weight." It's like, fucking. It's just the dumbest shit ever, right? Some people and some people have conditions, right? Some people are gluten intolerant. Some people, um, some people's reactions to certain things spike their insulin, right? There was a guy that he put a glucose monitor, 24-hour glucose monitor on him, and he found out that when he was eating green beans, for some reason his his insulin levels would spike, which is kind of crazy because you think green beans, right? Why would that spike your insulin? But for everyone's body, it's different, and that's the thing. It's like it's just not going to happen, and everyone's going to be different. So just understand if you're in the group and you see people that have been doing this for less time than you, or people that have been uh, doing it for more time than you, and they're becoming profitable, or they're having a winning day and you're having a losing day, right? Don't compare yourself to anybody else, right? You can only compare yourself to the person in the mirror every day, and that's who you've got to be honest with. We do try to have the accountability thing in the Discord, and having that accountability buddy and really being truly honest with that person every single day. Like my dad sends me his trade every single day without fail. And if he doesn't, I'm like, "Yo, where the fuck is it at?" And then he sends it to me. And most of the time it's just cuz he forgot, right? But if you can maintain yourself to be accountable, that can kind of help you too. Like, oh shit, I'm going to have to post my trades after the day. I'm going to have to send my trades to Pop at the end of the day, so I don't want to take any shitty trades, right? Um, it's like it's like, yeah, what are you hiding? Yeah, exactly. And there was even it was probably a couple months ago. Like my dad hadn't sent me his trades yet, and it was a little bit in the afternoon, and I'm like, hit him up like, "Yo, where's these trades at?" And he's like, "I had a shitty day," and I'm like, "No shit, still want to see it." Right? Because you can't improve just by showing your winners. That's why I fucking hate Instagram, because people are only posting like, "Oh, I made 9 grand today." Like, yeah, but let's see your fucking P&L for the year. You know, I'd rather. I mean, you think about it, like the thing is just crazy, and so just remember, and like I can't remember who was saying it, but like you give up right before. It was my uncle. Saying you give up right before you surpass the bad stuff. And where's this
Valley of despair. That's the term. So when you go through it, there's the curve where you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. You're trying to get better, you're trying to get better, and you're bottoming out, and then just as you're starting to actually move up out of the valley of despair, people will give up and then stop, and then that's where they quit.
trying to find the trading psychology thing. I used to send this to Jared all the time. I'd circle and be like, you are here. There it is. So you can see this is the one that I like, right? And this is, you know, you first start out, you're like, I'm gonna make $1 million, you know, and then all this shit happens. Wow, you're in a trade, it's a winning trade. Little short covering going on here in the market here behind this. Look to see if they can hold the 47. If they can hold the 47, you might see a test up there. That 55 was a big level earlier. And then they start to lose money, and then they're like, eh. And this is a huge issue with intraday trading, right? Intraday trading. These are people that have no risk management. They, you know, let's say they're trading like a bracket that's like 40 ticks and 20 ticks, and then all of a sudden the market drops close to their 20, so they move it back to 40. Now they're trading a 40-40, and then it comes back up and they cover it out at 1 tick, right? Or 1 point. Let's say they get 4 ticks, but they took 80 points of fucking heat, or 40 ticks of heat here, and like, oh, I'm just gonna hold it. I'm an investor. It's gonna go up eventually. Like, that's just fucking chaotic thinking. Fear, desperation, panic, right? And then capitulation. This is kind of that moment that my uncle's talking about. Maybe the markets just aren't for me, and this is where they quit. And that happens to be the point of the maximum financial return, where people have that opportunity to actually, you know, if they just keep trying, they get back to where they started, and that, but they've learned this lesson. And for the most part, and remember, this was our snail analogy back in the day. Um, and that's why, because you got to slowly work your way to this second part. Um, you know, but it really, I don't think there's any way to avoid this, right? I don't know of many traders that haven't lost and been in that spot where they start to question their abilities or what they're doing, right? Including myself. I've been to that point where I'm just like, and you could even ask James, you know, I was at the point where I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna fucking be done and just call it while I'm ahead, because I was going through a rough patch, and it was really fucking shaking me. I felt like the dude in Top Gun #1.
Cougar, by
Cougar,
the way.
yep. Yeah, Cougar. Cougar turned in his wings. You're #1. Send your ass to Miramar. Alright, getting some more selling here.
Got almost a week low, or I guess it's 3 ticks. Does that count as a week low?
I'd count it as a week low today with the volatility.
How far before we get to the single prints?
I think the 20 right here. I'll mark.
So we're what, 10 ticks away? I'm still holding those puts from yesterday.
So you're
I
just
haven't sold any of them yet, but
You-
there's been a few times where I'm like, I just need to get out of this shit. This thing used to go. I mean, I'm gonna sell it underwater no matter what I do, but at least I'm losing less.
Dang, I got in a short right there at 48 and I bugged at 34.
nice.
Yeah. I was so tempted to hold it. I was like, yeah, I think we're gonna go take out this bottom, but I just kept bringing my stop loss down. Brought in the profit.
So we have our first look below initial balance here. Wide, very wide initial balance.
So is that a reverse week low? Because, or I guess it would still be a week low because the B is not,
Yeah,
is only 3.
it's still a week low. Now we kind of see if it can't get into these singles and we start to get back inside of initial balance, look for that 44 level, 44 to 46. Kind of looks like the level. If it gets above that level, really start to run up to the upside. Not that I'm saying it's going to get up. We got 1,100 contracts trading on the low tick here, but you know, it's a spot where we've seen the sellers come in. So that's going to be a spot that you don't want to see if you're short and the market starts to get above that level. You got to know, like, okay, you know, I've ridden the dragon as long as I can. Time to get out. That was back in February. Yeah, I think it was February. February I had a tough month. August I didn't have a great month in August. Pretty much a break even month for the most part. Just barely kept the lights on here. But I mean, really, I just stepped back, started trading less, started being more patient. I started sharing a lot more, right? A lot of times I'll you know, bounce all of my ideas off of James.
These calls are like therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, like you guys, like I said, this is like a sounding board for me. I really enjoy and appreciate the opportunity to have these, you know, Zoom meetings every morning and go through the market. I definitely don't take it for granted. You know, and then after that struggle, and I don't know if I really call it a struggling month. It was just not in here with the rest of my performance, but in August, you know, I got offered a job in September. Now I'm trading for, you know, a legit prop firm. So it's actually that, like, you know, just right before I just was like, what the fuck is going on? And then boom, killed it in September.
Are you doing your job from home, or how are you doing that?
Yeah, it's a remote position. I just have to check in. Like I met with a guy last week, and then I met with another guy this week on Monday. And I'm surprised I didn't get a call yesterday, to be honest.
So you just trade with them at the same time, and it's all good.
Well, it's just like a bunch of the company employs individual traders, and then a lot of them are remote, but they do have a lot of in-office traders as well. And he said I could go out there and check it out, the in-office, but I'm not really a goer of places, to be honest. Like if I go anywhere, it's normally because like my wife plans something or somebody else plans something. They're like, hey, you want to go to Vegas? I'm like, sure. Like, send me the links so I can buy the tickets. But I'm not like, hey, you want to go to Vegas? I planned this trip. You know, that's just not me. I don't plan shit really. I'm super content just staying at home all the time with the kid. So let's see if it's gonna bust this low. We've got the weekly VWAP down here at 36.21, and then we've got these single prints just below that. Notice the tempo is slowing here a little bit. Market's trying to make a new low, but the tick is not really making a new low here yet. We got
What's the
1,500
time?
lots,
What's the time on the tick candle?
5 minutes.
Okay.
Little short covering there. I'm sick in one night. So breadth is cooling here, and we're not very much higher. We're at like around -5 here on the NYSE, but it's 10 points higher, and we're at about 3. So a little bit of cooling off here from the sector. But a lot of these sectors kind of opened up on a gap and haven't closed the gap yet. So take a look here. You have XLK opened up on a gap. Closing that gap would bring us down to 116. Healthcare opened up on that gap, 122. Consumer discretionary closed it. Financials needs to get down to 30.5 to close it. Let's see here. Communications still above the gap. Industrial still above the gap here. Staples still above the gap here. There's a lot. Staples did really well yesterday. Energy still above the gap here, kind of getting hammered down. Oil's down about 3.5% here. Material or utilities still above the gap. Materials still above it. Real estate's still above it. So would you long the low there, Liquor? Yeah, I don't consider that a bad trade, right? Because you're able to manage that risk pretty well. You know you're wrong below here, so you're able to just set your stop here. So if you're able to get filled like anywhere in here, and then watch how it acts at the volume, and then try to ride the runner through the weak volume, and then back up to that 45. And then really that 45 is the kind of the area that we see. I mean, 44 to 46. If we start to get too much above that, should pop up to that 56 area. That's kind of where they sold it off from last time. So we'll see if they back and fill this. Remember, we're back inside that initial balance, really wide initial balance. We got a lot of single prints right above, a lot of single prints right below. So kind of like we trapped a bunch of shorts, trapped a bunch of longs, and most likely probably get a little rotational.
Let him fight it out.
Now let's watch this 44 level. It happens to be a 50 moving average too on the one. Right. So buyer stepped in around this 36, it looks like. Let's see, watch if they hold this 36. There they go, they tap right up to that 44 yet. Trying though. Being up on the 39, buyer's still moving in. Got that weak spot on the profile, 54. This is that 44, 46 area. So if the seller's going to give up at this 44, 46 area, this is going to kind of be the area, I think, that you might see a little bit of a rally here that would take us back up, at least to like the 55 where that weak spot's at. Volatility is thought you listen, stay out. Yeah. Volatility is a humbler for sure.
Jeez, bro, jack that up.
Hmm.
Man, I took one of my plays right there, with like 3 lots, and it came down a little further than I thought it would, so I got stopped. So I took a full stop, got back in at like 25 half, but only got in with 1 lot because like emotionally I was like, well, what if I'm still wrong? So like there's a 10-point trade on the 1 lot, but it didn't even make up for the full stop because I didn't take the same play,
Dang.
the same size.
Where'd you get long at before?
Normally I start like whenever it comes to the top of the first box,
Okay.
like to the left. So like I started at like 36, and then I
okay.
got another one at like 33. Yeah, because most times it doesn't break the bottom of that of the like low. I'm calling that the low.
Right.
But it looks like I was early on the setup. Honestly, it looks like the box that we put in after that might be the low. So we could rotate back down and then look for a bounce off the top of that one. So I might have been just early on the play, but yeah, it sucks. Fine tuning these. That's like my longer setup play. That's like the one play I have that's like not a scalp.
Right. Right.
So looking for like a bigger move.
I do that same thing where if I get in and I lose it, I'm more cautious when I get in on the next one. And then the next one is the one move that I should have done with the original. Then I get like, ugh, dang.
Yeah.
Then I question all my moves. Then I got to stop for a minute. It happened yesterday on Globex. I picked the wrong direction 4 times in a row and had to stop trading. I was minus $32.
Yeah, I mean, that was the exact play right
That's good.
there. Look for it to trade back to the 50,
That's good.
and didn't stinking
Fine.
have the same size. So yeah, it looks like I took a 15-point loss on the full stop, and then got 10 points on the next one. So I'm down 5, but it was with a third of the size. So. But yeah, take profit 1 was that So I actually cut it a little early too because I didn't want to give back after I took the loss. So I jacked my emotions a little. But the take profit one was that 50 EMA. And then normally I look for it to rotate back down, look for where it stops, like where the shorts were trapped, and they start buying back, and then it trades back through the 50, back to the 200.
It's a nice little rally here. We can see, I mean, this was just a pop of all these kind of stops that were built up. So you really got to pay attention for this continuation, right? It goes right up to that 54, right where that weak spot was at. And now you're going to have to convince these buyers really to be moving up to buy this thing higher. If not, there's, good odds that it just fades back down. And it looks like some sellers trying to step in around the 52 half here. What would be the reason for working for a trading company instead of just building your own account? I have my own account, Penguin. I just, it was just kind of a unique opportunity, you know what I mean? And really, I've been trading my own account for, such a long time, and it it really just kind of validated my hard work in my own eyes, right? Like, I actually got an opportunity to work for a company as a desk trader. It kind of just made me think that all this hard work has kind of been worth it, you know what I mean, to get that opportunity. So um and really there's no real risk that I'm putting on, right? Obviously I do have risk in the trading account, but there's not like any like real risk as far as like if I lose that account, which knock on wood, not going to happen. But if I were to lose that account, I really wouldn't be losing my own money, so I would just more or less be out of that job than out of actual cash. So I just thought it was a unique opportunity, and like, you know what, I think I like that. I'll give it a try. So doing a little bit of backing and filling here, that B period is basically right off of that, or the D period, excuse me, right off that B half back. You're starting to see the breath cool a little bit, right? Getting more back to balanced. We're back inside that initial balance area. Volume moved lower. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those days where we see a little 180 here. Maybe not a full 180, but you see a decent sized move back to the other side.
So you're saying down or up?
Up. All right, I'll be right back. Mhm. Let's see if they can hold this upper box here. And you can see it's kind of, right on top of these previous areas here. So we had kind of this box here, liquidated, inventory, inventory, little distribution here. Now more inventory getting gathered here. I'm trying to see the dollar try to climb up here. A little bit of just liquidation there. Look to see if they hold below the 47.5. Seller's got to move down. More liquidation. Yeah, this area 44.5 to 42.50 was an area where they tried to gather inventory last time. Remember we talked about this 44.46 area of the break above that. We did get that test of 55. We got up there a little bit higher actually than 55. See what we get on a retest here. You're looking for 30, TJ?
Yeah, just that general area. You never really know. It's basically like an emotional, psychological kind of play. Like the boxes going back and forth like that just kind of show you that shorts are getting scared. They're starting to take profit. So what happens is when it gets down to the low of last time, or like the previous bottom two boxes, people are like, shoot, I should have took profit here the first time. Let me just take profit. And then that just kind of starts a firecracker effect of everybody starting to take profit. So that's kind of like that's what my play's based on, really, the psychology, like emotions of it. So I'm looking for longs to take profit here, rotate back down, and then I'm looking for a response. If I don't get the response, I don't pull the trigger, but I'm looking for just an area where they respond, get scared, and start to cover.
Sellers getting stuck down here a little bit at this 42. They need to push this thing back down or they might close a little bit. Liquidation. Nasdaq's coming down pretty heavy here. It seems no matter what multiple we've traded, the 10 and the 12 are always key levels. Yeah, it has seemed like that today. That's true. Yeah, it's like people are buying in like 10 point increments, right? Like around that, like the 42, 40, 32, 30. Like, yeah, that's a good good point. So back to this weak spot on the profile. The key here will be to pay attention to see if sellers move down and fill this in. If they don't, that's probably where you get that move back up to volume and look to see for the reoffer. And the 47 level this time is where the impulse started from, at least for me. 47.5 is what. Yeah, Pangolin, no problem, man.
You look at BTC and E.
Yeah. So Bitcoin still hasn't. I don't think it's down as consistently or as much as the ES is, because it's not down to its point of control from yesterday. It hasn't even traded back into yesterday's value, or kind of this balance of value that we had these past couple of days. Um, but it looks a little bit stronger. There is a fairly strong trend here, though. Kind of broke above it. We'll watch that level there. We're kind of, I mean, you can see this previous downtrend. Now we're kind of in another little downtrend look here. Yeah, I would be waiting to see how this acts at this weekly VWAP. I mean, you've got all these points of controls lined up. This area around this 19,000 is really, it looks like that's where Bitcoin's going, and looks like that's an area where you could probably make a better decision on what to expect. I just have to set an alert there and look for that.
Because the value of the past days from 18.4 to 19.2. So yeah, that 1900 is right there.
Yeah, right in the middle of it. Yeah, and it makes sense just to wait until that thing gets tested and
Yeah. So either
decision.
way.
Yeah. And ETH kind of, it looks like ETH ran the stops from all of this low, and you could call this just a bracket, right? Just one big bracket. And ETH ran the stops yesterday to the low side. So really, I would just, kind of be watching this 1260 level, and then probably around this 1220 to 1200 level as an area for ETH to come down to. I do think it will maybe try to peak below it if it gets some steam going, and you might get an opportunity to buy in that previous excess to trade it back up to, like 1300, which seems to be the key level. And then this level here, this is the level that we talked about the past couple of days, is still kind of holding as resistance, right? Rejected. It's been, I mean, we've just seen how much interaction there is from like this 1338 to 1345 level here. So it's still having what looks like to be a seller still sitting on this level here. And so that's the level really you gotta key in on if you're getting long. You want to be selling into this, and if it gets above, you know there's going to be some shorts probably getting squeezed out of the market and start to look higher towards some of these previous highs. Good look for the trend here, but it's not really that strong of a trend. I mean, lower high, lower high, lower high. Yeah, that's not a bad look there. Five-minute has you being a little bit more hesitant. Yeah, starting to pick up some steam. There's the 30 there. Volume's still trying to come down here a little bit. DJ's over here just fucking clicking. Come on, 30.
I hadn't seen the emotion I want quite yet. Seen a little, but it's almost there.
This thing's still kind of holding this downtrend here too. I think you might be safer waiting for this one to get back above that 47. This is a tough spot here, especially with how many lots traded on the low. Like these 2,000 lots all traded on the bid. So someone's trying to hammer the bid, but getting kind of sucked in. So you wonder, is somebody just buying all of this shit back, trying to get out of the short that they were trapped in yesterday?
Ooh, there's some emotion. Come on, short covering.
Yeah, let's see if they pop up. They tested that, but right to that B low, not able to get anything going. Just watch this 47 level. That's a level that looked like sellers kind of came in earlier, to me at least. 40, even 42 area as well. You got that 50 SMA right at the 42 also. There's the break of that trend.
Gosh, now it's just like, don't get scared. Don't take profit too early.
Especially on a volatile day like this, it's so hard.
This is the play though. It's like I have so many freaking screenshots of this. I was one level early on the first one. I'm
Yeah.
long 4 from like 29.
Fuck yeah, nice. Yeah, it's right there, right off of it. Yeah, watch this 42 level here. In some
Yeah, I got to
short.
take profit right here at the 50.
Nice.
Oh, dadgummit. What the heck just happened? Stinking mouse jerked around.
Are you trading on the MES, TJ?
Yeah. All right. I took profit right there. I'm going to leave it right there. See if we can take the full rotation right here. The full play is, 50 EMA, then 200. But since we have singles above us too, a lot of times it doesn't do the full play. So
Right. It could, if it gets up above 47, I think we could run all the way to 63. 62. That's where the cash VWAP's at.
yeah, the 200 right now is sitting at 65, but it'll come down a little by the time we get there.
And we can expect some resistance here, right? People been selling here. This has been a level kind of resistance turned into support. Will it act as resistance or not up here?
And holding the last lot's always hard for me. I'm like, should I give up all of these points on?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you're putting your stop really like at like 32.
Yeah, really it's only invalidated if it breaks that little U, that we put in with the 1 minute candles at that area.
Right.
Oh man, I'm glad I pulled the trigger. I made up for that full stop.
Yeah, good stuff, bro.
It's like after you take a loss, it's like, it's like, do I want to risk being wrong again? It's like sometimes the emotions can get you. But it helps having a clearly defined play to where, like, when you see it, like the odds in your favor, you just need to pull the trigger.
Right. 100%. That's that preparation. Like, and that's what they say. Like, what's that saying? Like you might not be
99% preparation, 1% perspiration.
perspiration.
In other words, you work out your plan. Takes more effort to make your plan, but if you don't plan, your effort is worthless.
Oh, that's not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of something about like being prepared versus being lucky, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Luck is when preparedness and opportunity meet.
There we go. That's the one I was thinking of.
Let's go.
I'm just always lucky. Prop trader, pure luck. That's what it stands
All right,
for.
let's go back to the open.
I honestly think that you might get if you get above that 47, I think there's gonna be a lot of shorts that it start to cover and could take us up to into those single prints for sure.
Yeah, what I watch for now to give us like propulsion is the top of the previous boxes. So we got like this 49-ish area, and then when we broke the 50, we put in the top at like 56.5 or whatever. So we might get there and then rotate back down to the 50 and then get some more buyers, and there's always rotations in between, but eventually if the play plays out fully, eventually we get to the 200. It's just, are you willing to hold that long for it to get there, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a tough one. The NASDAQ is underneath of its weekly VWAP, but the ES is right above its weekly VWAP.
This is also one of those moments where it's like, don't look at the P&L. Doesn't matter how many points you're up. Like, focus on the play. Like, is it time to take profit? Because if it's not time to take profit, why are you trying to take profit? You know?
Right. And that's where you got to put in your qualifiers, just like you're talking about, right? So like, where do you think that sellers are probably at? Probably at the top of those boxes. And so unless you start to see it go the other way, there's no reason to get out. But then, if you do see it, then actually you don't want to let it come back all the way down and hit your stop where you know that it's wrong if you start to see it, because there might be another opportunity down at that same spot that you got in before.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to take profit on the first trade, because I'm like, if I'm early, it's going to rotate all the way back down. So I'm going to take profit and just wait for the reentry. I could have played the rotation from the peak to down to the 30, but I don't like getting, if I start trying to play both sides, then you get kind of like back and forth, and then you miss your overall entry that was really good because you're trying to capture too much of each side. I'm really thinking about calling it here.
Yeah, that's something that I try to do. I really try to just trade one side of the market for the most part, most days. There is some days like today I've taken longs and shorts, but most days I am trying to just stay to one side.
I'm gonna go ahead and close right here. Man. 27 points.
Nice.
It's one of those like, sucks when you hit the full stop first, because then it just like diminishes the play. But it was there. I was just too early. You gotta just work on defining that part of it a little more.
That'll come.
1%,
Yeah.
1% better.
What's up, Tommy? The more you sweat, the less you bleed. Yeah. I wish we would have like swords, wars with swords and shit. Like way more test of like who's more prepared. You have a sword, because anybody could shoot somebody. It's not very hard. You can do it on accident. It happens on accident.
Or we could all just quit fighting,
Like what?
So we could all just quit fighting, there's that.
Nah, never.
It's not the people anyway, it's the governments. People have never gotten into wars.
I saw something on Facebook yesterday. I was like so confused by the wording of it. Good close, TJ. Like, TJ's a fucking size trader here. He fucking closes it as long, and all of a sudden the market shits the bed. The
Yeah, it breaks that bottom box. Just gonna go.
something like like they were giving. I wish I could find it. It was like giving like an educational class to educate people to be understanding of people that are attracted to minors. That's what it said. It said it like that. So it was like basically saying like,
What?
under like yeah, I was like, and then but underneath, because it was a meme, it said underneath, and it was a guy, and he was loading a revolver, and it said like God can't get rid of all the evil by himself, like, um, but it was, I mean, like it's probably in California or something like that, or they're just like they're trying to like decriminalize pedophilia. But that's that's why the violence will never stop, because there's people like that out there. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes you got to do the Lord's work.
It's just like how in California, I think it's $1,000. People can walk out of a store with $1,000 worth of stuff and nobody will stop them. And calling the cops doesn't do you any good. I think maybe it's San Francisco.
Oh, it's all of California. Yeah, that's happened a couple times in Cassia Valley, Walnut Creek, Pleasanton. They just
Guy
walk in,
rides,
take a bunch of stuff and walk out, and nobody
guy
does it.
rides, guy rides into a drugstore on his freaking bike, grabs a bunch of crap, and rides out of the store. And people were like getting ready to jump, and they're like, no, 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 you can't touch him. Like the store people, the workers were like, oh no, don't mess with them.
Yeah, the businesses don't want to be liable if an employee gets hurt or somebody gets hurt in their store or whatever.
It's just out of control. I mean, common decency is no longer even commonplace.
It's like I said, you should be able to just bitch slap people, and there should be no repercussions if they've earned it. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I was driving and taking my daughter to school, and there's this road that because the roads are small here, people park on the side of any road they want, so I couldn't really see. So I'm trying to pull out, and I pull out, and there's another car coming, and this bitch has her window down, and she starts screaming, obscenities. And I just looked at her and I was like, bet you won't get out of the car and say that shit. And then she just rolled up her window and drove away. Like, well, people fucking bark a lot, but that's because they never get fucking smacked. You could see, I mean, I see it with kids all the time. Like other kids, some of these kids are just fucking out of control. And I'm like, somebody beat this kid's ass. Like teach this kid, not like beat their ass, you know what I mean? But like teach them a lesson, like that certain things are just not acceptable. You got to be a decent human being.
Unless the kids are on the field, and then they can talk as much shit as they want.
Yeah,
At least that's still mine.
yeah, but I mean I'm talking like in the grocery store, like
No, I
just
know. I'm
at
just
the
laughing.
mall. Yeah.
I'm just laughing with you because he got a kid the other day to get a yellow card snap back at him because he was cursing him out in English and they didn't know what he was saying, which is one of my funniest things ever.
You know what I've learned though, like everywhere that I've gone in every country, even if they don't speak English, everybody knows the word fuck. If you say fuck you, everybody knows what you're talking about. It seems like.
Oh yeah, no, they know. What I always think is funny is they always think my son, they're like, does he really speak English? I'm like, well, my Spanish is shit. How do you think we speak to each other?
Yeah. Does he speak Spanish too?
Oh yeah, he's fully bilingual.
Yeah. That's gotta piss you off. Your wife and him just having a secret conversation.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing. And I know this is definitely I don't even know how to phrase this problem, but sometimes I get worried what he's saying to our cleaning lady because I don't know, because I can sense the attitude, but I don't know exactly what he's saying. It's like fuck.
Gonna have a fucking what was that? Ben Stiller movie, The Cleaning Lady, Meet the Fockers.
All right, guys, I'm gonna drop. We're packing up, about to go on a little family camping trip for the weekend.
All right, TJ, have some fun.
Enjoy, TJ.
bro. Catch you guys Monday, I guess.
All right, sounds good.
See you guys.
So So we're starting to see the market coil here a little bit, right? E period's still inside of D period. And we're kind of seeing these equal lows at the B, D, and E low are, very common here. So possibility that you're seeing, maybe buyers step up down here. The key will be the break of that 47. I think break of 47 probably takes us back up a little bit higher. But we're still seeing the breadth. The breadth is still looking pretty negative. The tick, for the most part, has been, pinned underneath of the 0. So really, I think it's probably safe to sell rallies until that 47 goes. And once that 47 goes, then then I think we might rally up. But until then, you want to stay, I think, on the short side. There goes a cleanup. Responsive buying. Push it back down. So, I mean, there's not really a lot of size trading here either. This is kind of lighter size. Weekly VWAP's 3621. Nasdaq's not looking as weak as the ES now. The ES actually traded below its E low or below its D low, but the Nasdaq didn't. Oh, interesting look. Pops right back up. All right, Zoe, have a good day. You missed that long. You're only 4 points off the low. Points off the low. Interesting look here. I mean, really just looks like a giant B that's forming now. Like, we saw that liquidation happen during that B period, right? Put in that little gap here, and then now just kind of forming a B. So, what we could be seeing is just every time we get close to these single prints, all these shorts are covering their shorts, and that's why the market hasn't been able to break down lower yet. Yeah, try to keep your stop tight. Yeah. They popped this thing back up to the 50 here. At 38. The lower part of that box was at 38.5. Yeah, if we stay in this lower balance, you're saying, Liker? Yeah, that will be interesting. I mean, we're back inside. I mean, we're back inside kind of like this, ugly balance that we had for those 3 days. This kind of ugly balance here. And then yesterday, I mean, news days are really hard to give any weight to, Yeah, then we have singles above, singles below. We still have that gap above as well. The cash gap. Damn, I didn't give.
What is the cash VWAP?
The cash VWAP just starts calculating from the cash open. So from the 9:30 open, 9:30 Eastern time open. Whereas the 24-hour VWAP starts at 6 p.m.
I got you.
So the market's still coiling here, right? The range is getting tighter and tighter. We can kind of see it here on the 1-minute chart. Oops. So see the coil there. Coil here. There it goes. See if they're going to push it. Nasdaq's still not below its D low here. Back below that initial balance now. Let's see if they get some extension. Just hammering that low right there, 25 again. $1,400 lots just traded there. Looks like they're covering. Sellers came back in at that 29. I mean, it looks like momentum sellers are trying to break this low, and they're just not having any luck. Now you're seeing that big bid step up on the low right there. If they don't hold this thing below 30, you probably come back up at 38. 38, 40 like a level. They're still holding 29, 28, 29. Might break the base down singles, trap short, rip a high off the singles. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're trying to break that lows. They're giving it their best effort. It's just interesting that they're struggling so hard. You're having so many lots traded there. I mean, how many are we at now? 3,400 down there on this low. So a lot of volume coming in right on the low and then right off the low right here, this 25, which kind of makes me think that it's a lot of short covering. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them rip the low and then a bounce off that 21 half where the VWAP's at. So the weekly VWAP. Oop, Nasdaq broke its B low. There it goes. We get the agreements right there. Sellers trying to move down still. So traded into the singles, just a couple of ticks there. Impulse was 25, so you're gonna want to see these sellers hold below 25, 25, 29. Really, that whole area is kind of sellers moving down. We're selling activity coming down here. Roach, you take that trade off the singles?
No, not yet. See if it comes back down, see what it does.
Yeah.
Or if it breaks higher, maybe get in a little higher. Let's see. I'm not too aggressive today. I don't like to get into the way it's trading, and I'm up. So
Yeah, I don't want to give it back. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's hard for me to get into a long, like, just because of, like, you know, kind of everything that's telling, like, all of my checklists that I followed just says don't get long. So it's really hard for me to ride along.
yeah, and I was just about to say it's really against the trend. So I'm really trying to be careful if I take it.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think that is going to be about it for me. I've got a trench to dig, and the weather's nice today, so might as well take advantage. It's supposed to be nice all weekend too, actually. So good.
Go sweat.
Yeah, go get some sweat on. Yep. But yeah. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Make sure that if you're gonna stay trading today, manage some risk and have a trade plan, or stick to your plan. Don't trade if you don't have a plan. I'm sure my dad will be in the Discord. Pop will probably be in the Discord. So, you know, if you guys are ever looking to just, you know, hear some thoughts of other people, or just get in there and just talk through things, it's a really good idea, I think, to kind of bounce your ideas off somebody else. You know, especially if they're counter to your idea, right? You know, I think that's why James and I work so well together, is that we really kind of counter each other a lot. And you know, I mean, the arguments get pretty heated sometimes, but it really puts things in perspective, because, you know, I'm arguing for one side, he's arguing for the other side. And so, not that you have to get in there and fucking argue, but, you know, it helps you maintain perspective, because a lot of times we get that blinding bias where we get in a long trade and we can only see the things that say that they want to go long, when, you know, today, especially like example as today, is like not really much is saying to get long, right? But, you know, but there is opportunities. You know, we saw TJ take a nice long trade earlier. So, but yeah, other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you guys later.
Easy, buddy. Thanks, man.
You
Have a good
guys.
weekend, man.
See you,
guys.
Brad.
See ya.